The BBC CEO Kganki Matabane joins me now. Welcome to the program. Thank you for your time. For the first time since 2008, a fully constituted 13-member board. Why do you believe they can be effective?
Good afternoon, Iman and the viewers, and thank you very much for having us. Firstly, we will welcome the board. It's long overdue, and we wish them very, very well. We've got a lot of expectations, and I'm sure they accepted the job knowing the pressure that will come up with that position. The entire country is at a standstill now, and the country is expecting that within a very, very short period of time, they will have resolved the issues that the country has. And the first thing that we want them to do in parallel with sorting out the current Eskom system is to make sure that the CEO and the COO are gone, because the CEO has been there for almost 3 years. And you'll know, in any company, if a CEO cannot turn around or stabilize a company within 1 year, that CEO is not worth to be there. So we were hoping that within a very short period of time after the board has done their own analysis and evaluation, they will do the right thing. And we called for the previous board to leave, mainly because we felt that they didn't have the courage to hold management to account. Because remember, the board is not the executive, so the board does not run Eskom. Eskom is run by the executive, but the board must have courage. They must have gravitas, must have the skills, must have the knowledge to be able to hold the executive to account. So the previous board had no, for example, had no engineer, had no someone who's got power engineering. So when executive come and present any power engineering solution, one wonders what question were they asking?
All right, and given, as you say, this then seems to be a more diverse in terms of diversity of skills, which will allow them to do the interrogative work on the reporting side of things. We know that collectively they bring engineering, energy policy, delivery and accounting experience to the table. Alternatively, though, we have heard, a defense of Andre de Ruyter and his team having inherited problems, that they're working in these, extraordinary circumstances in a post-COVID environment and all of the other factors. Do you believe these are just excuses? Because it seems, and this is just a day in, so I suppose it's too early to tell, that it doesn't seem as if Andre de Ruyter, the CEO and the COO are going anywhere anytime just now.
Yeah, as I said, anywhere in the world, when you appoint a CEO, they come there knowing that there are problems. And we are appointing them to solve those problems. But if you check in the past 3 years of Andre de Ruyter, he has been blaming anyone and everyone else except for himself. He'll blame sabotage, he'll blame the weather, he'll blame the rain, he'll blame procurement, he blame everything except blaming for himself. But when you are a CEO, you are brought there specifically to come and solve the problem. By the time we bring you, we already know there are problems. We knew there was state capture. We brought him there, the government brought him there specifically for that. If you, for example, look at the SABC commissioner, the SABC commissioner inherited similar issues. But when he got there, he did not focus on blaming the previous administration, because he knew the purpose of why he was there. He got there and made sure that SARS functions properly. So he was able to stabilize SARS, and SARS is now beginning to do what it's supposed to do. But when you look at Andre, when he got there, we were hovering around stage 2. Now we're on stage 6. So instead of stabilizing the organization, he actually made it worse. So you cannot tell me that it's a type of a CEO that we want in a very critical company like Eskom. And we have the economic recovery plan, and the economic recovery plan is hinging on security of electricity for it to work. The small businesses that are supposed to create 90% of the 30 million jobs that are supposed to be created by 2030 as per the NDP, are basically relying solely on Eskom. Hence, when we had the meeting with the president, we said the solution of power in South Africa is to solve the current issues of Eskom. The renewables, for example, solar and wind, those things are proven technically that they cannot solve the load shedding because they don't have what is called base load. You can only solve load shedding by providing base load, and we don't have other technologies, for example, nuclear, hydro, gas that can solve base load. So all these other renewable energies, they are what we call the cherry on top. When you have a cake, you cannot have the cherry on top without the cake. So we need to have the cake as South Africans. We need to make sure that we have the base load electricity. And that is the only thing that can solve load shedding. All these other things that are coming with the lobbyists are not going to help us.
Right. I mean, this is not a new argument, right? You've made it before, but the calls are growing and certainly gathering volume for Ruyter to leave. But we heard from the minister that both him, Oberholzer, and the CFO are expected to stay in place and run the day-to-day operations. Are you at all giving an ultimatum to the board? I mean, is there any other pressure that you're planning on bringing to bear to obtain the result that you want?
Yeah, you heard what the president was saying. Even the minister, when he announced the board, he said the job of the board is to do an analysis on everything, including the management. So we're not expecting them to come today and tomorrow they say, management, go. We're expecting them to sit there and say, management, your job is to make sure that there's electricity in South Africa. There's no electricity, so you should go. They have to take that decision themselves because the president can't take it, the minister can't take it. The minister appoints the board, and then the board is the one that must make sure that they hold the CEO and the management to account. And by just looking at what they were supposed to do in the past 3 years, that is the case for them to leave. So we're not going to put pressure on the new board. We're giving them the benefit of the doubt that they'll do the right thing. And we'll be monitoring the system as we're engaging with them, we're engaging with the minister, we're also going to be engaging with the president.
Well, after that, I mean, you know, one wonders then what do you have in your mind for who their replacements could be as the board, you know, sets its own new priorities, given the fact that this is the first time in several years, in many years actually, around 14, that Eskom has a fully constituted board and their task is to bring the country back from the brink. So just to go back to the question then, who would be these, you know, these executive replacements that you would say would be effective where these three have not?
Yeah, Iman, we can't mention names because people are going to say we're lobbying for certain people. We're not lobbying for anyone. We're dealing with the issues of principles. There are capable people in South Africa and abroad and all over the world who are prepared and have got the capability to deal with the problems of Eskom. So once the board is ready, there will be people who are ready and available to take on the new positions of the CEO and the COO.
Thank you so much for talking to us this evening. We appreciate your time. Kganki Matabane is the CEO of the Black Business Council.